The term save-scumming has become a very popular term in video game culture over the years. It's basically when a player uses the save and load system in a game to go back to a specific point of their choosing and essentially cheat out of their mistakes. For example, if you're in the middle of a difficult boss fight and you get halfway through their health bar, instead of risking the possibility of dying and having to redo the entire fight from the beginning, you could just save right there and load that save if something goes wrong. This doesn't only go for boss fights either. You can do it pretty much anywhere in the game. For example, if there's a party of enemies and you get halfway through that party of enemies, you could save right there so if you die you don't have to refight the entire party. Or maybe you're playing a large RPG and you have to make a major choice that affects the story. Instead of living with the bad consequences if your choice provides them, you can save beforehand so you can reload and pick the option that you like better. It's basically just avoiding your mistakes or avoiding outcomes you don't want. This is a tactic a lot of people use, and it definitely lives up to its name of being scummy. You are literally avoiding every possible mistake, which obviously isn't how the game is meant to be played, but is it really wrong to do? Personally, I don't mind save scumming at all, and I've used it in pretty much every game I've played where it's possible. I've been recently playing through Republic Commando, and I am very guilty of save scumming in this game, because it's actually pretty difficult and very easy to mess up at certain points. It's an older game that isn't super fine-tuned to feel fair, and there are sections where one bad decision can set you back a decent amount of progress, which obviously isn't fun. And if I have to clear a room of enemies, I'm probably making multiple saves throughout that room to prevent having to redo the entire thing, and that's fair. I'm definitely not just coping with the fact that I suck at the game. And honestly, that's a major point in favor of save scumming. Most of the time, and for most people who use save scumming, it's much less about making the game super easy and more about making the game less annoying, because that's just what makes it more fun for them to play. Looking closer at it, the thing with save scumming is whether you value having a more enjoyable experience or whether you value playing the game exactly as intended, and there are a lot of different points in those opinions. Some people who value playing the game as intended and don't use save scumming would argue that having real consequences is part of the experience, and if you know you can just reload whenever something goes wrong, then every decision you make becomes less meaningful, and this makes total sense. A horror game isn't as intense if you know you can instantly erase every bad outcome. A strategy game loses some excitement if every risky move can just be retried until it works perfectly. Even in games with random chances, constantly reloading until you get the perfect result can remove a lot of what makes the game interesting. On the other hand, people who do save scum would probably argue that games are just supposed to be fun at the end of the day. If reloading a save means you don't have to replay 20 minutes of content, or that you can attempt things from a safer angle in terms of progress, why wouldn't you do it? There's also the other group of people who don't save scum simply because they think it feels cheap to do and stand on the principle of that. This is separate from appreciating consequences, and is basically just standing on principle because they feel like it, and people in this group usually tend to judge others who save scum. This is the only one of the three standpoints that I think is fundamentally flawed. In older games such as Republic Commando, games that aren't as fine-tuned in both coding and gameplay as modern games, save scumming is usually actually encouraged by developers. Saving all the time ensures a fallback if the game experiences crashes or glitches, something I've been victim to way too many times playing the Switch port of Republic Commando. Save scumming also allows for a fallback if difficulty scaling is off and you're attacked by a crazy swarm of enemies very suddenly. And this is also encouraged because a lot of these older games' difficulties can be off due to the outdated technology and standards used to create the games. Even in newer games, this ideology against save scumming is also flawed. Save scumming is only actually possible in certain areas. You can't save in the middle of a boss fight, but you can save pretty much anywhere else. This shows that developers know people will save scum, but to save the game's difficulty and make sure everyone is playing the game as is actually intended, they only allow it in certain situations. This means save scumming where it is allowed doesn't really have any consequences to the satisfaction or legitimacy of a game completion, or should be considered cheap. cheap. So I think this all draws a perfect balance in the end. Saying save-scumming is cheap on principle and criticizing others for doing it is fundamentally wrong. However, it's not wrong to play a game the way you like to. If you want to play the game by dealing with every consequence, no matter its unfairness or cause, because you like how that works, that's absolutely fine. If you want to reload when something bad happens so you feel like you enjoy the game the way you like it, that's also completely fine. Where the issue happens is when people judge and don't fully understand the implications and systems of save-scumming, or call others dumb for not save-scumming, and that's what needs to be fixed. So, is save-scumming wrong? No. Should you do it? Not necessarily. You should just play the game exactly as you like without judging the way others do it. Thanks for watching to the end. Subscribing, liking, and letting me know what you think in the comments really helps me out as a new channel, so if you enjoyed, consider that stuff. Thanks for watching.